One of the things a lot of people, including the star of the show, didn't like about the show was how formulaic it was. Every episode was pretty much the same. Kolchak learns about weird things happening somewhere. He finagles a way to go check it out. He meets the monster, subdues the monster, and isn't allowed to write the story. We're already well into that pattern today.
Admittedly, the story you're about to read is bizarre, incredible. Those of you who wish to avoid being unsettled, who wish to avoid thinking, will label it insane. And though you, the reader, would find these facts almost impossible to substantiate, that does not change their nature. Facts they are. I know. I saw them happen.
He's seen a lot of things happen. Wasn't allowed to write about any of them, so it makes you wonder why he keeps beating his head against the wall. But he can't resist a story like this.
Yellowstone County, Montana, December 11th. Horrified local authorities investigated the gruesome deaths of 4 area residents, the Rockwell family, mother, father, and 2 children. All had been discovered strewn around their isolated farm, their bodies mutilated. An official coroner's report stated they had been dead 3 days. Cause of death, attack by wolves. Fact, the last sighting of a wolf in Yellowstone County occurred in 1948.
Fact, wolves weren't reintroduced to Yellowstone until 1995. I lived about an hour from the park at the time and got to see the controversy up close. It had nothing to do with potential attacks on humans and everything to do with potential predation on livestock.
Fact, in the entire history of this continent, there has never been one documented case of attack by wolves on a human being.
And that's why it had nothing to do with potential attacks on humans, because the North American gray wolf doesn't do that, which makes this situation all the more baffling. Not only are wolves that aren't there attacking people, the wolves that aren't there are doing things wolves don't do. Back home in Chicago, they're getting blasted by winter storms, but they're still celebrating because our beloved leader, Tony Vincenzo, is heading off for the first vacation he's had in 5 years. He's all packed, he's got his ride to the airport, and the tickets to the cruise ship are practically burning a hole in his pocket.
No, sir, that's in the office next door. Will you shut up a minute?
Shh.
Tony! Hello, sir.
What?
No, it's not him, sir. One moment, I'll put him on.
What is it?
It's New York. Will you get on the phone?
Oh.
For you, hurry up.
Okay.
The Asian flu has decimated the ranks of every INS office in the country, and this one is no exception. That call is telling Tony that some auditors are coming in the next few days, and he has to be around to deal with them. There's no way out of it, so guess who gets to use his cruise tickets? And a nice fat wad of expense money. The powers that be won't let him dump the auditors off on Kolchak, so instead Kolchak will go on the cruise. The New York office paid for the cruise, and it's to be a working cruise to get some interesting features about interesting people who hang out on cruise ships, and now it's Kolchak's assignment. I'm sure that's exactly what he'll do. Doesn't he always follow directions to the letter like that?
The Hanover had been built in the early 30s, a floating anachronism 900 feet long. She could sleep 2,000. Considered by many to be the grandest lady to have ever sailed the seas, she had outraced U-boats, fought off dive bombers, and weathered the wildest of parties. But she had not weathered the airlines. The 747 had condemned her to death.
I always have a hard time reading the word Hanover because it looks too much like hangover, and it makes me laugh every time. For the record, I've never had a hangover, but I've known plenty of people who did. That's why I can make fun of the whole idea.
Hi, man. How are you? Hey, put it there. Good to see you. Hey, let me ask you something.
Sure.
What are you doing here?
Oh, I guess I'm your roommate.
Oh, hey, terrific. Mel Tarter.
Hi, Mel.
Hey, where's your name tag? You gotta have a name tag.
The New York office picked up the tab for this, but they obviously went for the smallest tab they could find. I have a feeling rooming with Dick Gautier is going to be its own brand of punishment.
Fool.
Hi, I'm Wendy. Is Mel Tarter here?
Well, yeah.
Hey, all right. How you doing, babe? Oh, Pumpkin, you look good. Will you look at that swimsuit, huh? Look what's in it, and look what's out of it.
I think he'd rather not. I doubt Kolchak is a fan of the whole look but don't touch thing. So naturally, Wendy has an idea.
Paula Griffin.
Oh, you mean The chick we met up at the grog shop.
Yeah, he's perfect.
Oh, yeah. Hey, listen, Carl, Paula, you will love her, man. I mean, she's gonna really turn your train around.
Turn my train around?
I don't know what that means, and I probably don't want to know. He'll send them on ahead and then try to avoid them when he finally goes up to dinner. But he's not the only special passenger. Let's check in on one Bernard Stieglitz.
Oh, afternoon, sir. You must be Mr. Stieglitz.
Stieglitz, that is.
I'm the assistant purser. Anything you need, I'm your man. Please call me George.
What do you want?
Oh, just doing some unofficial checking, sir. There's a fella down on B deck. He was assigned a cabin that he doesn't like very much. It's too small. He'd be willing to pay well for a larger place.
If there's a dollar that might change hands, George is there for it. He's our hustler. He can get you anything you want. Drugs, women, you name it, George is your man.
Please get out.
Say, I got a honey of a telephoto lens that'll fit this camera. Trouble is somebody just scratched off the serial numbers. Now, Mr. Stieglitz, if
Stieglitz, that is.
there's anything you need at any time, all you have to do is ring and I'll be right here at your service.
There is one thing our man wants, but George seems not to grasp it: privacy. Now, the episode is called The Werewolf, and we have a mysterious foreign stranger who's all secretive and stuff, so I'm gonna say Wendy is the werewolf. That blood pattern suggests a pair of really big canine teeth.
10:18, two events happened. One, the moon had just risen off the starboard bow, and two, an angry Mrs. Lois Prysock of Eugene, Oregon had just lost $50 in dimes to the ship's slot machines.
In dimes? I'm glad I'm not the one who has to count that up at the end of the day.
10:20 p.m., Mrs. Lois Prysock had lost everything.
Well, at least she didn't scatter dimes all over the deck. Someone could slip on them and get hurt. How come when he does that, it looks smooth and sexy and cool, and when I do it, it looks like I really need to pee?
Hey, Cal, come on. Hey, I want you to meet Paula. You remember Wendy, don't you? Yeah. Huh? Here, right over here. Hey, Cal Kolchak, fourth column. I want you to meet Paula Griffin, your own little roundhouse. You know what I mean? Have fun, guys.
Mel has been having trouble understanding the difference between the fourth estate and the fifth column. This time it came out fourth column, so Paula thinks Carl is an accountant. He explains. She's fascinated.
You get to go all these marvelous places, meet interesting people, do exciting things. I'm a nut about old movies. Did you ever see Too Hot to Handle with Clark Gable and Myrna Loy? He was a reporter and she was an aviatrix. They had all kinds of adventures. They fell in love. They went up the Amazon River where this headhunting tribe was. It isn't anything like that, is it?
Nita Talbot excelled at this kind of non-stop talking that keeps the other person off balance. She used it to great effect in that other show we all love that I'm currently reviewing on Patreon. Join up if you're interested. Fans of Hogan's Heroes will recognize Maria, the mysterious Russian woman from season 2 and beyond who was always yanking Hogan's chain. He, and we, was never quite sure where her loyalties were. The only thing everybody knew for sure was she really wanted to get into Hogan's good graces, so to speak. She was one of the show's favorite guest characters, and she nailed the role perfectly every time. She's still with us, though I think I read somewhere that she finally gave up trying to seduce Hogan a couple of years ago. Kolchak will start as recorder, and she can be his first interview subject. And now nobody's driving the ship, and the horn is blowing non-stop because that guy fell on the switch. Kolchak sees a bunch of activity among the crew and knows something is up.
I'm sorry, sir. You're not allowed up there. Captain Wells' orders.
Wells? Oh, I've already spoken to Wellesley. Why, we're old buddies from the Yorktown in 44. We were co-helmsmen together. I just want to take another look at the bridge.
Oh. Did you say Yorktown?
Yorktown, yeah.
Great ship. Great ship. But it went down in 42.
Kolchak is a bit off his game, I think, because his next ploy will be claiming he's the captain's son. Well, fine, this sounds more interesting anyway. By the time he gets to where the noise is originating, it's all over and the crew is denying everything.
Oh, you must be lost. This area's off limits to all passengers.
I was shots up here.
Oh, no, you didn't. It was a high-pressure hose, busted, whipped around, messed up a couple of boys, that's all.
He's been shot at enough, he knows the difference, dude. But there's nothing for it, they've circled the wagons and are ready for a fight. Being Carl Kolchak, he's not about to give up. But he needs to let Tony know what's going on.
Carl Kolchak, INS. A very important message with the Chicago office, INS. Top priority.
No stories going out tonight, sir.
Did you hear me, son? I said top priority, AAA.
I'm sorry, we're having a little trouble with the equipment.
Well, when is it going to be fixed?
Soon.
Soon. What's that gun doing there?
Big swimming regatta tomorrow. I'm the starter.
Yeah, no pool's closed.
We know that, sir.
Starter pistols are revolvers, dude. That's not even a good lie. But the nice thing about a starting gun like that is, if you have money on one of the contestants, you can make sure the other one doesn't win.
Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. Could you help me? I lost one of my contact lenses out there, and I can't see a thing.
Lady, I'm snowed under here.
Well, what if I fall down the stairs and break my neck? Then you'll have a lawsuit on your hands. Please help me.
All right.
While he's distracted, Kolchak slips in and copies some information that should allow him to make a call out.
The first-class pool. It was no longer in service, but two couples from Wayne, Indiana, after drinking too much, decided they simply had to swim there. They should have gone to bed.
And now he really has something to tell Tony because he actually gets a picture of these bodies. And that's not all.
Get this man in the infirmary.
He has a picture of the creature. Too bad when he wakes up, he'll find that there's no film in his camera. Someone else is in the infirmary with him.
Seems to be healing and then it just breaks open again. It has happened twice now. Then I have this constant dizziness and the blackout spells.
Odd. Likely the abrupt change from Greenland's the cause for it. As for the claustrophobia, rabies, I think we can safely rule that.
I know that. I'm no fool.
He doesn't want pills and such. He wants the doctor to give him an injection of painkiller so he can sleep without nightmares. You get the feeling he knows, but he can't face up to it. Eric Braden could scare the liver out of you. He was born Hans Gudegast in 1941, so he was an infant during the war. In the 50s, he relocated to the United States and eventually went to Montana State University. He and a friend made a documentary about traveling the Salmon River, and he headed to L.A. to try and sell it. He wound up selling himself instead, so to speak. Producers were way more interested in this handsome, hunky German than they were in his little film. He became a successful character actor pretty much on the spot, but in keeping with American ideals of the time, eventually they made him change his name. Hence, Eric Braden was born 30 years old around 1971-ish. Before that, in 1966, he landed one of his iconic roles as Captain Dietrich on the Rat Patrol. IMDb lists him as Eric Braden in that series, but he did the role under his real name. In fact, he never legally changed his name, and Eric Braden is just a stage name. But over the years, he's gotten used to answering to it. In 1980, he landed his truly iconic role, one that he continues to play to this day, that of Victor Newman, everybody's favorite villain on the soap opera The Young and the Restless. The role was supposed to be a short one, but the character was so popular they didn't dare write him out. 43 years and counting. I think he's trying to challenge Anthony Geary for the record in soap opera longevity. As we go along, we'll learn what the doctor meant by Greenland. He works for NATO. He was stationed in Greenland for a while, and now he's been transferred somewhere else. He's been in and out of naval hospitals with no relief. He's on this cruise ship because everybody has to be somewhere. Plus, he's on rest leave.
Well, congratulations, Captain. My compliments. Listen, it's all cleaned up, spick and span, good as new ship shape. Nobody'd ever dream that there was a brouhaha here last night.
Mr. Kolchak, you are to understand and comply with the following for the duration of this voyage. 1, you are to cease annoying crew members in the performance of their duties. 2, you are to desist from fomenting trouble among your fellow passengers. 3, you are to stop representing yourself as my son.
1, he can't help himself. He annoys everybody. 2, when did he do that? He hasn't spoken to anybody but Paula, and he hasn't mentioned anything about killings to her. 3, okay, that's reasonable. It was a lame ploy in the first place. The captain does not want to talk about any of this. Kolchak says, "You do know what the Constitution says about freedom of the press?" The captain says, "Yes, I do." "Do you know what the Maritime Code says?" It says the captain is the absolute authority on a ship, and anybody who defies his orders can and will be locked up for as long as the captain deems necessary. Kolchak isn't sure he believes the captain will really clap him in irons, but if I were in his shoes, I don't think I'd test that hypothesis.
Are these those?
Mr. Kolchak won't win any prizes for his photography, but his subject is certainly startling.
Bob Hastings and Henry Jones are both old friends of the channel. We have some serious guest talent this episode. One of the fun things about doing these retrospectives is getting to see how many different roles these actors played and how versatile they are. Kolchak heads to the infirmary and discovers that someone has broken into the medicine cabinet and stolen some painkiller and a syringe. It's not hard to put 2 and 2 together.
Operator, I want ship ashore, please.
I'm sorry, Mr. Kolchak, but all the lines are busy. Please try later.
They've been busy for the last 2 hours. How did you know my name?
Buongiorno, Carlo.
Paula says everybody on the ship has gone crazy. She overheard a couple of Italian sailors talking. They didn't realize she speaks Italian. What they were saying was off the rails.
Che cosa di animali? Che cosa? Lupo e mano. Lupo e mano. You know what that means?
No.
Lupo?
Lopo.
Wolf!
The only thing she remembers about werewolf legends is silver bullets. That's good enough for Kolchak. He'll have George steal some silver. The best thing he could do is tell someone and ask for help with this, but who? They'd call him crazy, and even if they believed him, what could they do with Stieglitz? I don't think the ship has a padded cell. If they did, his wolf form would probably eat the padding, and then his human form would get all constipated anyway.
Oh, hey, there's my main man. How you doing, Carl?
And what are you doing, Carl?
Oh, I know. You're fixing up some kind of costume for the fancy dress ball tonight, right?
Wrong.
He's making a crucible to melt the silver down into bullets.
No, I mean, yeah, that's a helmet, right? I mean, you're into some kind of Visigoth trip.
There will be no fancy dress ball tonight.
Oh, yes, there will, because they announced it this morning.
Yeah, and I'm playing Lady Godiva.
And I'm coming as Peeping Tom, all
Mel,
right.
you reconnoitered the ship pretty good. Is there a priest on board?
Mel says, "Hold on, man, you only just met Paula." Carl explains that the silver needs to be blessed by a priest in order to kill the werewolf. They know a guy who failed divinity school, and now he's into the opposite of celibacy. He'll have to do. Exit Mel and Wendy, enter Paula.
We were right. When I placed the call from my cabin, I got through fine. I talked to your editor, Mr. Vincenzo.
Yeah?
Oh, gee, does he sound like he needs a vacation?
If you only knew. She'll get to the reason for the call eventually.
Anyway, he seemed very upset when I mentioned that you wanted stuff about mutilation murders.
That follows.
He sounded awful. I mean, coughing and sneezing. Apparently he has the flu, but he still has to come into work because nobody else is in the office.
Again, if you only knew. Poor Tony cannot catch a break. But he did give her some useful information.
Last month, in Yellowstone County, Montana, a family of 5 was killed.
The story at the beginning said 4, but maybe Tony included the family goldfish.
The authorities there believe that they were attacked by wolves. And before that, a 6-man NATO radar team in Greenland.
NATO told me the date. It was exactly 1 month before the Yellowstone County incident, right?
Yes, that's right. 5 were mutilated beyond recognition, but 1 survived.
What was his name?
It's not listed here.
And Stieglitz is with NATO and just got transferred from Greenland. And it's now 1 month since the Yellowstone County attacks. It's a good thing George is here with the silver.
Silver plate? That's not sterling silver. Haven't you got any real silver aboard this ship?
Sure.
Well, get it.
Not for any price.
Why?
It's the buttons on the captain's dress uniform.
How many bullets can you make out of them? Kolchak intends to find out.
What are you doing here?
I don't think he can use the contact lens ploy again, so he'll come clean.
Well, Captain, you seem to be fond of living in the past, so perhaps you'd be interested in knowing that there is a werewolf on board.
Really?
Really?
Article 22, Revised Maritime Code. Should any passenger or passengers exhibit, in the captain's opinion, an unbalanced state of mind, the captain may order that such passenger be put
To sleep, yes, I know.
I won't deny we've had trouble. My officers concur with me that we've had a psychotic killer on board.
That's one way to put it. But since the attacks have stopped, the captain can only think of 3 possibilities.
The man fell overboard, the man committed suicide, or the man suffered serious injuries and crawled away to the bowels of the ship to die.
Or the thing is still alive and waiting for the moon to rise.
The moon.
The moon, the full moon. Check your nautical charts, Captain, for the exact time.
Have Mr. Hallam come up here with the security party, please.
Once they have him out of earshot, the captain has a question for Mr. Hallam.
Ask Royer how much time we'd buy if we change course now and try to outrun the rising moon. Sir? Nothing.
Carl told him to check his charts. You get the feeling he's already done that. Kolchak's crucible is ready for our faux priest.
Hey, Paul. Here's your man, J. Remy. Oh, yeah. Here it is in the pot. It has to be blessed.
Hey, now, is this going to take long? See, I've invested a lot of time in a couple of young ladies.
Well, just do it, will you? I mean, just mumble something in Latin. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of difference.
I mean, what's going on?
Nothing is going on.
Yeah, I know, but he's what we have, so he'll have to do. While Kolchak melts the silver into slugs for that shotgun, something is happening in the Stieglitz cabin.
10:21 p.m. Bernard
Stieglitz, that is.
Ordinary career soldier, answered a primordial call and had a most extraordinary dream. A nightmare that no human being could ever imagine or begin to comprehend.
Mr. Stieglitz.
German pronunciation is Stieglitz, though by now I'm sure he's been around enough unteachable Americans that he's used to hearing it both ways. And when you ask him how to pronounce it, he says, whatever. Poor George. He just wanted to make a fast buck, or 2 million. The regular lead bullets are having their effect. They're making him mad. And when he gets mad, people get hurt. Kolchak can hear the shots, so he's scrambling to get his shell made and get out there. As this show often does, we'll play drag it out, draw it out, way out to fill the runtime. And while I'm going to skip most of it, I freely admit that this show keeps the padding interesting. So that wasn't a criticism, it was just a statement. The only place in America where you consistently saw double-barrel shotguns was on television. Hunters, police, security guards, and everyone else used pump action. Why? Because the pump action shotgun is easier to use and holds more shells. Federal law prohibits hunters from having more than 3 shells, but that's one more shot than a double barrel gives you, and you don't have to break it open to reload. There's also only one trigger, so you don't have to remember which barrel you already fired. Police and other officials are allowed to have 5 shells at a time, which means in a life-or-death situation, an officer can pull off 5 shots in as many seconds. With a double barrel, you'd have to reload twice, and it would take at least a minute. Then there's the question of where Paula or George or whoever even got that thing. We're probably better off not knowing the answer to that one. That way nobody can charge us as accomplices. He can't tell whether he hit it or not, but his second shot definitely misses. Now he has to reload. I probably shouldn't say it, but told you. What? We have to get rid of the body so nobody can examine it somehow, and there's that great big ocean out there just asking to hide it, so... After the Chicago office replaced the captain's buttons, Kolchak didn't get paid again for 2 months.
Of the 11 crewmen and 4 passengers attacked by the beast, it is not known how many actually died. The injured? Well, they disappeared. Rumor has it to Switzerland to undergo treatment for a rare blood disease.
And someone is wondering about Bernard Stieglitz. If you ask, they'll all say, who? He never existed. He was never on the ship. He never worked for NATO, was never in a Navy hospital. There is no such person. You must be mistaken.
And any attempt to publish a werewolf story about such a man would be met with the heaviest legal artillery. Vincenzo, always gun-shy, conveyed that message to me in no uncertain terms.
He went there to get human interest stories, and few humans are more interesting than Paula, Mel, and Wendy. But when you've met an actual werewolf, regular humans just aren't that interesting anymore. We're already well into that pattern today. Isn't it allowed to write? Isn't it a good grief? Off to a great start here, Irving. Wendy is the werewolf. Has the infirmity. The what? Paula says everybody on the ship has gone. Blah, 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 blah. I don't think Stieglitz captain. Kolchak. No, wrong guy.